Gale jump on top, you have Genji
drag.
jump on top, you have Twilight Dream too. But it's just how much do Superstars lose trying to get to heroic abilities. Gale Force again get another person, take out another one even as well. Gul'dan goes down, and Gale Force are getting 10, more than a level ahead of Superstars.
Yeah, and this could allow them to honestly just pressure multiple fort on multiple fort, maybe even keeps if they wanted to do so, because this window of experience is so huge that they legitimately can decide to do anything. Even getting the Punisher at this point in time might not be the most effective use of their time because it takes so long to be able to get. If so, maybe only 1 to 2 resources, which is what they decide to do so, and everybody else is so much concerned about all the other things happening on the map, ensuring that they don't lose a drop of their advantage in the experience department.
Well, Iacona still decided to get Ancestral Healing, but we're waiting on Thrall, whether he wants to get Sundering or Earthquake.
I think it's Earthquake. Like I've hyped up Sundering, and you know that personally I adore Sundering. I feel like a lot of the times I want it more than the Earthquake, but specifically when looking at like the Malthael and the explosion and the team fight of how Superstars want to open up with it, Earthquake will actually get the disengage that they may need to win these fights, whereas Sundering is a counter initiation that most of the time they won't want to take, again, because of the Tormented Souls, the Horrify, and that all-in mentality necessary with the draft Superstars has.
Before the mid-season brawl, I did see teams in the Taiwanese region drafting Thrall as a counter to Genji, and it was basically wait for him to use Deflect and then hit him with the Sundering afterward to just blow him up. So maybe that's a thought process here. Gale Force are already so far ahead of Superstars that they could make those, try to take those different calculated risks in sort of a win more strategy. But then again, they just want to win this series out as best as they can, as strongly as they can. Mahosi's going in, they got the Tormented Souls along with the Dragon Blade, and that will spell the destruction of Rhaegar. Man, the Twilight Dream, hook K1 Pro back in. Gale Force got way more than they bargained for there.
Yeah, and now Calf is on the full retreat. Hosi, he was removed there, but Cyber Agility, that's going to be, oh my gosh. He did get the reset. Okay, so things are okay now for Superstars. And we saw the composition come online. Again, whenever they press their R buttons at the same time, if they get a lot of people stuck and the fight has to happen then, it's very likely that they are going to win it. But if their cooldowns are very long, drawn out, and if you can force fights continuously, this Superstars draft may not look as dominant as we experienced towards that bottom half of the map. But once again, Gale Force got a very dominant early game. One major team fight, they bite off maybe a little bit too much. Superstars gets the punishment. Now Superstars, again, they have to keep it up. They can't let what happened last game happen again here.
The Putrid Buy will help a lot with trying to make sure that Gale Force can't disengage versus the Tormented Souls, Twilight Dream, and Dragon Blade when that happens, as well as the Horrify. And I love seeing that Superstars, in fact, didn't use Horrify. Michael Udall going in, Root doesn't hit, Erho trying to dodge everything that he can and does dodge the drag. Now, Superstars hoping that they can turn this around. Hook goes in, Akaface caught. He goes into Ghost Bull form, but everybody dives right on top of him. Akaface down.
Yeah, he went to the fastest route to get a reasonable escape, but he didn't know where the rest of the members of Superstars was. Walked into a party shrub, and the surprise was real. Superstars now has a 24-second window where they have the upper hand. What are they going to make happen? Full invade. Fan does know Iacona and Saray did get the invade, so it's not like what Superstars is doing is unknown to GFE.
It's still a camp. They need to apply some pressure too. They're going to move into the mid.
Beautiful.
Catch Caffeine. The Roots are there too.
Horrify. Arthas down. Another stagger death for Superstars in this game. Their heroics are back online too. Only Horrify was used there. So they have a realistic opportunity of taking that all-in fight around the shrine that I was discussing earlier. And suddenly, it's back to even.
Superstars are being oh so patient with their heroic abilities, not using Horrify down in the bottom, knowing that they had enough to be able to get the kills that they needed. Then using Horrify there, but nothing else on top of it. They understand that they have a lot of long cooldown heroic abilities, and that being able to combo them in the right ways and use them efficiently is going to be the best bet of being able to turn this game around.
This Punisher is very likely to be over to Superstars here.
Earthquake.
Oh my gosh, the drag coming out there, but Twilight Dream used before it can even matter here. The heal, but nobody's got the kill. Adaptation fully healed Mike Udall back up, so he is now just drawn so many resources. Gale Force has got to be liking how this fight started out, but they're unable to get a kill yet. Yoda completely isolated, drag, and now the kill. That fight was so beautifully orchestrated by Gale Force and how they decided to open it up, specifically with Mike's flank and then Fan. That was very impressive.
Superstars tried their best to try to turn things around. They had Airho far in the back and drew so much of Gale Force trying to deal with him. But the fact that Superstars still lost Gul'dan in the end and weren't able to get any kills off of the rest of the people who were fighting up in the front line is making it hard for them now to be sure that they can get this shrine, but it is very close in Skeletal Defenders, 35-34. Superstars not willing to give this one up, but in the end, Gale Force gets the Arcane Punisher.
Another Punisher on the side of Gale Force. Mid 4 is already so very weak. It's 100% going to be going down. It's what else can Gale Force find themselves to be able to earn? Posey being rather clever there. They're actually going to cycle away. So what do they do with their downtime? A double fort play? So this is like one of those moments where, again, that kind of thought process you can see Gale Force going through. Instead of going, they understood the fort was dead 100%. The same thing where I'm like, okay, that's going to go down. They question what beyond that point can we obtain? Is that keep front wall worth it, or is the lack of this top fort going to be able to outweigh that? In the experience argument, the answer is the mid keep was better. Yes, but they aren't struggling in the experience aspect of this game. They want to be able to manipulate this map more effectively, and it all started with that rotation up top. Again, beautiful decision-making from Gale Force.
So they popped the Putrid Vial, so ideally Superstars would like to be able to get somebody from this, but they understand that at the same time they're not 16, so they were hoping that they could at least get a hook on someone onto the Vial and then have the root follow-up from Iacona. At least get a kill so that Gale Force wouldn't all be able to disengage. Oh, Hosty finds a lot of the members of Gale Force, and Fan once again with the perfect flank now kills Iacona.
Yeah, and Iacona not dropping the Twilight Dream. Horrify was used to try and save Urho here, but stuck between all 5 members of Gale Force eSports. He did a lot of damage, but in the end, he is going to be the one dying. Now another camp given over to Gale Force. Just unstoppable, it seems like, at this point.
16 is going to be really nice for Superstars. They'll have Pulverize for the slow, but also Ruinous Affliction on top of that. And Echoed Corruption is just about done. He needs 10 more stacks. You just have to get to that point without losing too much. And then, of course, Malthael likely will get Memento Mori here, but could also try to get Soul Collector if he wants to have that increased sustainability in the backline, as we have seen Airho trying to make the flanks for the team to be on the backline and distract some of the members of Gale Force while the rest of them deal with the front.
You know who would be a really cool, because like the flank target, or the flanking aspect of fights for Superstars makes sense. Again, it's all on how they ideally want fights to unfold. One really cool flank target, which is extremely high risk, but possible due to the lack of hard CC on the side of Gale Force eSports, is Malf. And I know you hear about the idea of a Malfurion flanking and you go, nope, 100% nope. But this fight, if it happens when everybody is targeting the Malf and he can buy any time with the Ice Block, and then once everybody unleashes all the heroics, you drop it and then use the Twilight Dream after, it's actually a very hard strategy to deal with, because otherwise the Malf is walking into your backline and just going, I'm going to one-shot you. Your biggest fear is going to be who? Thrall can't stop you from Twilight Dreaming. Greymane can't stop you from Twilight Dreaming. Rhaegar can't. Arthas can't. Only Dahaka's drag, and you should 100% be able to drag or block that with your Ice Block. Like, it's an actual thing that they can get away with, and it will help them, but it's very difficult and something that they may keep relying on Urho, you know, with that Malthael to try and make happen.
Well, the way that Gale Force has been approaching these fights is always flanking in the back. They're doing it again here, but with the Thrall and with Dahaka. This time, though, they blow up Srey before Superstars can fully get into the fight with all 5 of them, and Genji goes down too. We're going to have a pause quickly in the game.
Gale Force eSports here having a moment as something seems to be going awry. Hamsters in the, you know, toaster not running quick enough here. Maybe
we'll get them some lettuce and make sure they get back to work.
Do hamsters eat lettuce?
I don't know, and I knew you were going to ask me that.
The problem is that I get too curious about everything in life. So when I don't know something, and you very much know more than me, because I don't know the diet of a hamster, I'll be like, is that true? So just 100% expect me to ask the noob question if I have no idea what the heck is happening.
I've never had a hamster.
I had a hamster, and maybe the reason I don't have the hamster is because I don't know whether or not they eat lettuce. Because I had one when I was young, and I don't have one now.
That took a morbid turn. Let's get back into the game. I don't even know how to segue that one.
Nope.
No, there's no saving it.
I had
like your hamster.
I had like a bad, wow, sick burn. Ancestral's dropped. Maltheo ripping through the health bars of Gale Force. If they can get this around, they don't have a Genji though.
Look at him.
For the reset. And everyone looks to survive. Yoda, there's, he missed. There's one. All right, so 3 for 2.
Drag, ice block, avoided, Kona, run.
Dodge the Feral Spirit. Now, dodge now. It's always around that choke.
Did.
He's a legend. Hindering Moonfire, throwing it away, making sure to seal the deal. You saw that sidewall, and that's where I was calling it the juke, and that's where we've had this conversation many times. I always, panic every time somebody moves around that corner, but luckily, Iacona, fraction of an inch out. He survives. 4 skeletal defenders. Mal throws down a scouting drone. He wants to throw out the Moonburn. Yoda, though, goes in.
Oh, my.
He got him. He did it. At least mission was completed out of that. Sacrificing him. Hosey's back in.
And Akaface might be out. He was trying. Threw down the healing totem. Had the heal as well. Superstars have a moment with this Punisher. They are still vastly behind Gale Force eSports in experience, in kills, in structures. But they at least have been able to get a Punisher to try to do some damage to the structures of Gale Force eSports and catch up in a lot of those regards.
Look at this flank from Calf. And Mike. They're just going to start the fight and say you cannot walk away from it. Mike falling pretty low there. There goes the Earthquake from Fan.
He has Dragon Blade back up if they want to go back in this, but the drag pulls Iacona out of Twilight Dreams. Sray is going to likely go down. He used Devour to get some time. Now Arrow and Hosty have been caught trying to decide if they were going to go back in and help out their teammates. Arrow gets hit by the drag as well as the Feral Spirit, and he'll go down to Superstars. Had a moment with the Punisher, but some indecision there costing them.
This is really smart by Hosty. He understood that the keep was the focus and possibly the game at that point, so got as many dismounts as he can. He's actually flanking from behind to try and be distracting, try and draw a bit of aggro and attention from Gale Force, but he's not even risking the positioning moving forward. There he goes, looking for the tap. Gale Force moves into the core, moves in, hits a couple of people. Dragon Blade's going to be dropped. Shielding of the core is already gone, Gilly. And it's just not even looking like it's going to be close. He doesn't have the damage to be able to do it, but Fan's distracted by Yoda. Horrified dropped. Hosty and Yoda unable to make it happen. Gale Force takes game 2, and not as dominant fashion as 1, but still pretty controlled.
Superstars were really hoping to just get something out of their Punisher. You could see how desperate they were to come back into the game, but Gale Force, that flank was insanely good. Largely made possible because of the fact that that wave, that lane was so pushed in Gale Force's favor that they were able to go in there. The Punisher jumped down, but then being able to push Iacona underneath the fort was not the greatest place to be able to fight, especially where Maltheo was still trying to come in. Genji swift struck out and was like, should I get back in here? I don't know, team.
Yeah, and
it's a rough spot.
That moment afterwards where the Maltheo was like debating whether or not they wanted to move in. The last time that they got in a case where it was like, do we all in? They were so close to being able to get that fight back.
Yeah.
I was hoping that case that we would see them do it again, even though it didn't work the first one, because the difference between both circumstances, one has a Genji with resets and the other doesn't. Like, the game is potentially over at that point. Try and get one reset and make it happen. I mean, this is, again, the only way Superstars maybe could have stopped that game from going over. But just it's one of those kind of, we see that happen once in a game and it doesn't work out, but just one variable different, and Superstars may have been able to change the outcome.
Well, Superstars will have one more shot at getting a game off of Gale Force and continuing the series on after this break. Stick with us.